All righty, and we're back for episode number 14, and we're recording this as of June 22nd. It'll be released on Wednesday the 23rd. This is a little bit more of a special podcast. Typically, we release every Thursday and Mondays, but after this weekend and all the information and things that have happened related to OU football, we kind of felt like this was a well-deserved podcast that needed to come out a little bit early. So, just a little bit, we're going to go over a recent commit and Gavin Sawchuk. We're going to talk about ChampU BBQ, everything in between there, and what's coming up and what you can look forward to in the next couple weeks as far as OU football goes. For everyone that's new and hasn't been around for a while, we're a couple OU grads. My name's Brum, and then this is Jose. That we're just really trying to grow this thing. We really appreciate the support. And for everyone that's just coming on this channel, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. We like interacting with you guys. Subscribing and liking lets us know that you enjoy the content, and we'll keep it coming your way over the next, weeks and months leading up in the football season, and they're coming up further. So without further ado, we'll get into it. We'll start going into the recent commit as of today, the 22nd, in Gavin Sawchuk. Gavin is a 5'11", 185-pound running back out of Valor Christian High School up in Littleton, Colorado, which is actually the same high school that Christian McCaffrey went to. His game is very similar to Christian, and he was very interested in Stanford just because of that connection with Christian McCaffrey being there. He's a 4-star running back in the 2022 class, 43rd overall, number 2 running back in the class. He's joining Raleek Brown, who's the number 4 running back in the class. So OU now has 2 of the top 4 running backs in the 2022 class, which is a little different than what in recent memory OU has been dealing with as far as running backs go, which is a welcome sight to see. And a little bit his career, obviously he still has his year coming up. His total all-purpose yards, he's got about 4,500 all-purpose yards, and about 3,700 of them are rushing yards. He averages a little over 9 yards a carry. He has 49 rushing touchdowns in his career. He's played freshman, sophomore, junior year, and obviously he's going to add more to his stat line before he's done. He's also a kick returner. He's averaged about 51 yards a kick return, and just has been just electric and is a home run hitter for his high school team. He's obviously had offers from OU and then Alabama, Ohio State, Notre Dame, and Stanford, and Florida. Those are just some of the few. I mean, he's got quite a few more. He just recently visited, obviously, OU at the ChampU BBQ, but prior to that, he went to USC and Ohio State. And then he just announced his commitment today. However, he did make his commitment to the Sooners while he was on campus for the ChampU BBQ with Demarco Murray in his office, and kind of caught the guys off guard a little bit. But he just said it felt like home to him, and he's just ready to pull the trigger after going to USC, Ohio State, and a few other places. And so, Jose, let's get into it. What's your takeaway with him?
I mean, I think we said it in the last episode 13, like Brum said, if you're new, go check it out. But, people are going to pick what feels like home to them. And Gavin, luckily for the Sooners, Norman was it for him. We are doing great in recruiting for 2022. We've got 3 top 100 recruits in that class, I believe, right now, and 2 of them being running backs. So we're not doing too shabby. Specifically with Gavin, obviously the upsides for him are crazy. He's a number 2 back of his class, like you mentioned, but he's got burner speed, which is something we haven't had really. Ramondre, like we said in Trey's Who Dad episode, he's got the burner speed on this running back room right now. So hopefully Gavin and Raleek are going to be the ones that come in and kind of push the envelope on, when they're running 40s and when they're taking gassers on practice field. Those guys are going to lead the way. But Gavin's got, like I said, a lot of upside. He's having that ability, like Christian McCaffrey, is going to open up the field a lot for the Sooners if he does have the exact same skill set. I think we can expect Gavin to be kind of a bell cow back for the Sooners. And when he really gets into his own, his biggest opportunity right now is filling in his body. He's still, 17 years old. So it's not like we expect him to be a fully grown man yet. He's 185. I mean, it's kind of light for a running back, right? Especially if we want him to be the number one back of our offense. He needs to beef up probably closer to 200, which once he gets into Norman with Coach Wiley and Demarco, he probably won't have very much problem. So just need to eat a little bit more because he's going to be working out plenty once he gets to Norman. I think, I don't know, the biggest thing with the running backs right now is obviously, Demarco Murray, and we'll touch on that a little bit more, but later. But yeah, I'm really excited for Gavin to be on board with the Sooners, especially since he's joining his fellow top 5 running back, Raleek Brown, because that is going to be a duo that no one's going to want to try to tackle in the near future.
Yeah, no, and I mean, a couple points off of that is, yeah, you're talking about adding the weight and, getting heavier. You just get them on the Headington meal plans where they start feeding them 3-4 meals a week of just everything that they could ever ask for, and just feed him, work out, and he's going to beef up real quick. If not already in his senior year, he might already be getting that with his parents helping him out and whatnot. And then just another point is you said 3 of the top 100. I believe we're actually 4 of the top 100 because Kobe McKenzie, the linebacker out of Lubbock, he's number 89 in the country, which is, normally we haven't in recent memory had top linebackers in the top 100. So
true.
And I don't know if you guys, not to get off on a tangent, but I don't know if you guys saw the picture of him next to Kenneth Murray. He looks like he could actually play football for us the first weekend in August. He is huge, and he's beefed up, and he's already ready to go, and he's still got a senior year. But we'll get back to Gavin. So I just think like home run speed, Gavin's going to be more of your outside of the tackles, more of like on the pitches or the options or things like that. Get him out on the outside because he can make people miss. He's got the home run speed, like Jose said, and he's just better out there. He and also his frame isn't huge to take the punishing blows that, like a 220-pound guy or 205-pound guy can take. And I don't know if his frame is there and will it ever be there, because he wants to keep the same speed. So I think, it's going to be a committee deal. No one's going to come in and probably be the bell, total, 100, 85%, 90% of snaps. And then to pair him up with Raleek Brown, which Raleek Brown is more of a guy that, they're both pass catchers, but Raleek can play more of the slot position, which the slot position, provides versatility, get him on the field. I mean, he's also electric. And, it's really a good sight to see that we've got 2 running backs already on board after the whole Kamar Wheaton deal and then the Jace McClellan deal over the last 2 years against Alabama. I mean, odds are we're not going to lose both of these guys at the last minute. So, and, going into DeMarco Murray, and speaking of running backs, I don't think they're done adding running backs because Raleek Brown can play in the slot and a few other positions and more of a pass catching role. DeMarco, obviously he's from Bishop Gorman High School out in Las Vegas. He's definitely provided more of a West Coast presence, obviously with Raleek Brown. And, you can't say Colorado's West Coast, but it's, it's a little further out west. That's closer, kind of USC kind of recruits in Colorado and things like that. Obviously he visited them. But there's another running back. He's the number 9 running back, and his name's Javante Barnes, that I believe is a very heavy OU lean. And so DeMarco's effect on this is pretty big. Jose, what do you think about DeMarco Murray and his recruiting right now?
Yeah, I think we mentioned it. It's been a while, maybe like 3 or 4 videos ago, but I think DeMarco is really showing, the value that he brings outside of just coaching running backs. Obviously, he's one of Oklahoma's best to ever do it as a Sooner. I don't know if he still is, but at some point he was the all-purpose yards leader. So he clearly has a lot of value to teach these young men. But, with the recent addition of Trey Bradford, with Gavin Sawchuk announcing in DeMarco's office, obviously he's very comfortable with him as a coach. And then Raleek Brown committed a while back, but now we're starting to see these coaches on Lincoln's staff aren't just there to teach these guys how to play football at the college level. These guys have fully bought into what Lincoln is wanting to build at Oklahoma. And yeah, unfortunately, we're going to see some of them leave for, better opportunities, potentially head coaching opportunities in the future. But these guys are showing that they're all, Sooner born, sooner bred, and they're going to do everything they possibly can to attract the recruits to live in Norman, because I don't know if everyone saw it, but I believe it was Coach Roy Manning. This guy is hyped to get these DBs in front of him and just get everyone to buy in and love Oklahoma. I mean, this guy, and I'm sure Demarco Murray's doing the same thing. Obviously, Coach B loves Oklahoma, but he's an amazing coach for those big boys in the offensive trenches. So I think it's really cool to see how all these coaches, especially Demarco Murray, have had an effect on their respective positions, because I don't think that Lincoln Riley and Grinch are going to do it on their own. You need guys on your staff that are going to ultimately be supplementals, but like I said, to your position group that you're coaching, because I think it's kind of hard to say no to an all-time great Sooner when you're in Norman, Oklahoma, saying, hey, I don't really feel like coming to your alma mater where you lead in all-purpose yards. Obviously, this guy's an all-time great talent for Oklahoma and in the pros. So these guys have a great opportunity in front of them to learn at OU, hopefully take advantage of the education that they get, but they're going to be NFL talent soon enough.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's great, getting that West Coast presence is huge. And I think, there's a lot of talent that comes out of the California, Nevada. Bishop Gorman's a powerhouse, and modern day where Raleek Brown is coming from is essential. And that was a great hire by Lincoln. And I mean, how could you say no to Demarco? I mean, he was a terrific running back, not only for the Sooners, but in the NFL. So that's, I really think Javante Barnes, they could take 3 running backs in this class. I think they'll take another 1 or 2 in the 2023 class. And like Jose said, I mean, odds are one of these guys might leave after the first year or two. Just, it's easy to leave. And, if you can go play for another Power 5 team, I get it. Sometimes I'd like to see the guys stick it out, but I can, I've never been in their shoes, so I could see where they're coming from, where you can go play for maybe not a national title contender, but someone that could win their conference. I mean, you never know.
Yeah.
So, but moving on a little, what else do you have?
I want to say one thing before we move off this topic, but I think it's fair to say that Oklahoma is going to be the next dynasty in football. Nick Saban is getting up there in age, and kids go to Alabama knowing full well that I'm going to compete for a spot. Like, I'm probably not playing as a freshman, probably not even going to play as a sophomore. I'm not going to see the field until my redshirt junior year, more than likely. So unless they're extremely talented, he's about to retire. I don't think that there's going to be a coach in history that is going to accomplish the amount of success that Nick Saban has for Alabama. And hopefully Lincoln's the guy that's going to start challenging Nick Saban in the next 10, 15 years for that legacy. And these kids are going to know, if I go to Norman, Oklahoma, I'm not here to just get playing time as a true freshman unless I'm, I don't know, freaking Trevor Lawrence kind of guy. You know what I mean? You're going to work, and it's not going to be easy, but it's going to pay off in the long run, because your dream to be in the NFL is going to be that much easier to get to.
Yeah. And, just a little recruiting nugget as far as, speaking of the recruiting level that OU is now at, coming up this weekend, the 25th and 27th, the weekend of the 25th through the 27th, there's a 2023 linebacker, number 1 linebacker in the class. He's the number 8 overall national player. Anthony Hill is supposed to unofficially visit the Sooners this weekend, which, I believe he's from Texas. I can't remember exactly what city. Okay, Denton. And, that's where Billy Bowman came from. I mean, there's some roots, and, Amari Amor, or Abor is there. And there's a few other guys that OU's recruiting out of that Denton area, and getting him on campus. I mean, even if he doesn't commit, the number 1 linebacker coming to visit you is pretty good. I mean, the fact that he's unofficially not even, he's spending his own family money or his own money or whatever it is to come see your campus and your football team. And Granted, I know there's some limitations with unofficial and official, but getting him on campus, I think, is a big deal. So we'll see if there's any follow-up to that. We'll be sure to keep you in the loop. We'll then transition. If you have anything else to say with him, Jose, there's not a whole lot to say other than he's just probably betting his options. So one of the other hot button items, granted, this kid was not at the ChampU BBQ, but there's a little bit of uneasiness going on with him. Gentry Williams, he's from Tulsa. He plays at Booker T. I believe he's the number 5 athlete in the 2022 class, like number 34, number 36 overall player in the 2022 class. Family legacy OU. His parents went there. He grew up a Sooners fan, grew up dreaming of playing for the Sooners. Recently, on 247 Sports, Steve Wilfong crystal balled him to USC, and a few others did, I think, from USC insiders and some West Coast people. Gave it like a six confidence level of him picking USC and signing with USC. And a lot of people, rightfully so, have gotten a little nervous and kind of are a little uneasy that we might lose a top player in our own backyard again. You bring up Josh Proctor, and then you've got Dax Hill, losing him to Michigan. And it's just that whole thought of like, why can't we keep this top talent in the backyard? Granted, there's a lot of time, early national signing days, not till December. In the late signing day, I think it's in February, middle of February. There's a lot of time. And I will say that, it's just mainly a two team race right now, with OU and USC. I think he really likes the West Coast and their cornerback coach out there, but I think he's very excited about him. But I think he might have been a little bit into the moment, and he has said that he wants to go visit OU, and he's going to visit OU. I don't know when, but sometime probably between now and the end of the football season before he makes his commitment. And I think his love, growing up an OU fan and really thinking through and visiting it again, is going to come back, and he's going to realize what he's got. And I think he's ultimately going to pick the Sooners. He might commit to USC, but I think he will ultimately sign with the Sooners. Jose, what do you think?
I want to preface what I'm about to say. I'm not here to harass Gentry Williams, as some softies on Twitter have said I was doing. So I'm glad I got that out of the way. But I'm kind of interested to see, he probably was very excited being in South California. It's great weather. He's going at probably a really good time where there's a lot of shit going on in California. Everything's starting to open up. So he probably was super excited, and maybe he spoke out of emotion when he said that that's probably where he might land, or that was his top school or whatever it is. He said they got people to crystal ball him to being a Trojan. But I wonder how much these guys are taking the name, image, and likeness rule that is going to be available for them. They're going to start being able to make money. And yeah, being at a powerhouse school like Oklahoma is going to get you a lot of notoriety because you're probably going to be playing on TV a lot. But being in California and LA, where there's millions of entertainment companies always, open to bringing in talent to promote their brands or whatever it is, like, and you got TikTok, you got all those TikTok creator houses. Like, these guys might be really looking at California because they have a lot of opportunity to make money before they go pro. So that's kind of something that I just thought about. But Gentry Williams staying in Oklahoma should be a priority. We can't keep losing this homegrown talent to anywhere. Like, it seems to always be a school that isn't even super competitive outside of like Alabama. If you're leaving Oklahoma, you better be going to an Alabama or Clemson, because, like, let's be for real. Like, there's no point in you going to a place like Michigan where you're not even going to have a 500 record. Like, come on, let's get real here when we talk about, like, we're going there because there's some notoriety, and that's why I'm thinking like these kids are going to start taking that into account, like, a lot more than we have in the past. Because obviously, according to the NCAA, they couldn't get paid. We don't know what happens, outside of the rules, but being in Oklahoma is going to benefit him not just for potential money while he's in college, but he's going to get a lot of TV time. And if he's as good as we all believe he is, he's going to have a huge effect on that defense with Alex. If Alex Grinch sticks around, hopefully that's the case. Grinch is the coach for him. But we're going to have a loaded DB room if he does decide to pick Oklahoma, like we believe he will, and in my opinion should, because there's no reason to be a Trojan when they can't even win the Pac-12, because the Pac-12 is garbage.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I think also some of it is some of these kids, and it's not even just, Oklahoma kids. I think sometimes some kids are like, I want to go start my own deal. My parents went to this school. I grew up 2 hours from here. All my friends are going to OU or OSU. Yeah. I'm going to go start my own deal. And I think some kids are like that. I do. I'm not personally, but there are, Raleek Brown is leaving Southern California, and he grew, he was a Trojan guy, and he's visited, USC. So it's fit, and also maybe it's just starting their own path. But I think ultimately, I think when he gets back on campus, he's got enough friends on the football team. I think time and thinking things through and watching how both teams perform in this upcoming football season, OU should and will be dominant this year on both sides of the ball. And if they, they should win a national title this year. If they did go win a national title, or at least make it far, win the first round of the playoffs and have elite defense, I think we just need to pump the brakes, take a deep breath, and I think it's going to work out in the end. But do you have anything else to add, Jose?
Nope. I think it's going to be a lot of good stuff coming here from recruiting, not just for Oklahoma, but for every school, because it's kind of coming down to the wire for a lot of these 2022 recruits. And we're going to start seeing 2023 ramp up here in the next month or so.
Yeah, no. And for sure. And speaking of another 2022 guy that's probably going to be making his decision, I don't have a timeline when, but I would say he's definitely got to keep your eyes on. Caden Helms. He's from Bellevue, Nebraska. He's a 4-star tight end. He's a little underrated as far as his overall. He's like 383 overall player and like the number 16 tight end in the 2022 class. It's basically a 3-team race between obviously the Sooners, Arizona State, North Carolina. He visited for the ChampU BBQ. He came away very impressed. He's a big Jon Finley fan, the new tight end coach, I think. And he's a very versatile guy. He's a little underrated, but I think he just came away, Arizona State and UNC started kind of closing the gap a little bit on the Sooners. He's been a longtime Sooners lean. And then he visited OU, and it seemed like the door has been shut. He was blown away, enjoyed the weekend, hung out with former players. I really think the former players coming back on their own dime and spending their own weekend coming to Norman just because they like the team and they were asked to, but obviously OU can't pay for their former athletes to come back. And I think that speaks volumes. And I not only is it cool to be talking to NFL players or former NFL players, but just the fact that they're willing to come back, that has to speak volumes to the family atmosphere and the camaraderie that they have in the program. And I think that hit home not only for him, but I think a handful of other players. Jose, do you have anything to add with him or not really?
It's just cool that all those guys brought their dope cars and put them on the field and said, hey, look at what you can do here in like 5 years if you come play for the Sooners.
Yeah, and a little shot at Texas that were, they were taking photos with their recruits with, cars that were in the images and not actual cars, just photoshopping it in. No, we had real Lamborghinis, Rolls Royce, Ferraris, trucks, whatever. Just a little shot. I think, Lincoln sees that, or Annie Hansen sees that, and kind of just jabs the knife in just a little bit. So as far as like for the final guy that we're going to cover is the Luke Haas. He's from Bixby, Oklahoma. So another homegrown talent in the 2023 class. He's number 1 overall tight end, number 36 national player, according to 247. Obviously, it's 2023, so those rankings can shift quite a bit. It's out, way out in the future. Big frame. I think he's about 6'5", 6'4", athletic. He plays basketball and football, obviously. He visited for the ChampU BBQ. In the previous weekend, he was actually in Norman on an unofficial, just taking in the campus. And I think, if I remember right, I think his family, whether his mom or his sister, someone went to the University of Arkansas. Arkansas is kind of in the recruiting realm. I just don't think it's really much of a thing. I think that's literally the only connection he had, and it since then has not really happened. I think when he got offered, I do remember seeing that he was pretty starstruck, and like Lincoln Riley was reaching out to him, and I think he's a big Sooners fan. And he loves Jon Finley. It seems to be a reoccurring deal with him and Helms. So and speaking of, recruiting that we were talking earlier with Demarco and some, Coach Biedenbaugh and all them, I think Jon Finley has come in and really ramped up the recruiting, with Beamer going to be the head coach at South Carolina. I really think he's an alum, he played for the Sooners. I think he brings a lot to the table, a lot of youth and a lot of energy. I think he was at Ole Miss before he came here. Not saying that Ole Miss wasn't a great team, they were for a while, but they had the recruiting violations, and ever since then they haven't been great. But he's now at a true, a blue blood. He's back at his alma mater. I think he sees the potential, and he's been really hitting home with these guys. I mean, he got hired just 3 or 4 months ago, and he's already, I think he's close to getting Helms to commit. I think Luke Haas is not far off, maybe this fall. I really don't know when he would commit, but I for the number one tight end player to be leading, I think that's pretty good. Jose, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I love what you said about Jon Finley. That guy is obviously having an effect, just like every other coach on staff is having an effect on their position guys. But I think that Luke is kind of Oklahoma's to lose at this point. It seems like he's really bought into Norman. He was there twice in a week. And obviously a lot of things can shake up. I believe he's a 2023 player. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
So he's got a lot of time to really make a decision. He's going into his junior year of high school. He's got a lot of time. He's got a lot to learn. He's really just starting off his recruitment stage of his football career. So we'll see how everything goes with him, but early signs point him to be Oklahoma's to lose. And he's a guy that's going to have a lot of impact. He's a big kid. I think he's already over 200 plus pounds. He's 16, 17. So like he's got a lot of room to grow physically. And I'm sure by the time he gets to whatever college he's going to be the size of, I don't know, a guy like probably Mark Andrews. Mark was a big guy when he was in college, and it's not far-fetched to think that, Luke is going to be about the same physical stature as a guy like Mark. So hopefully he does decide to go to Oklahoma. He's obviously very athletic, being a two-sport athlete. Kind of your typical tight end, plays basketball and football. So, we'll see how his recruitment turns out. But we've got, like I said, we've got a lot of time before he even really says, these are my top schools. So we just got to keep an eye out and hope for the best when it comes to his recruitment and making sure we keep him in Oklahoma, because he, like I said, it seems like he's already bought into being a Sooner. We just got to make sure that no one comes in and says being a Sooner isn't worth it if you can come win somewhere else or make more money somewhere else or whatever.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think he's going to be watching Austin Stogner real close, as long as Stogner can stay healthy this year. And he probably will think, wow, that I'm similar to Stogner in my skills. Why can't that be me? They definitely use the tight end. Obviously, we've got Mark Andrews in the NFL. But moving on to the last bit, basically kind of what's coming up as far as commitments go and people to watch. I did see that Trayon Webb, 2023 athlete from Florida, he is announcing his commitment tomorrow. Just came out of nowhere after visiting ChampU BBQ. I will caution, I don't think it's going to be the Sooners. I think he's probably going to go somewhere else. I really don't know where. If he's committing, I don't even know if it's a commitment. Did he actually announce, or did he just say the just a time and a date. I can't remember what he said.
Let me double check for you. I do believe I think he's just making an announcement, but he might be saying his commitment.
Yeah, no, it's making an announcement. Yeah, you're right. Sorry. So it's definitely not a commitment tomorrow. If I were to guess, I would imagine he's going to be announcing a top 5, top 10. He might be doing that. I must have read that wrong. And, there's so much stuff going on right now. Good thing to check that. But, Trayon Webb, he's making an announcement tomorrow, non-commitment probably. And then we've got Malachi Nelson coming up later in July. I think it's like July 17th, July 18th. He's supposed to announce. Chase Biddle, safety from I think Garland, Texas. He's like the number 7, 8 safety in the country in the 2022 class. He's supposed to commit, and so I think that guy Biddle is definitely someone that I think the Sooners lead on, and Malachi Nelson they lead on as well. Jose, have you seen anyone else that maybe to keep an eye on, or anything to add with those 3 guys?
No, I think so. Biddle, I don't know if you mentioned it. I might have spaced out, but Biddle's commitment is coming on July 7th. Yeah. From what all has been reported, it's likely going to be Oklahoma. I feel like Malachi is kind of in the same boat. Whenever he makes his commitment, he's going to pick Oklahoma. The only thing we can hope for guys like that is they are doing it very early in their recruitment cycle. So let's just hope that they are so in love with Oklahoma that nothing changes that or sways them from decommitting later in the future. Obviously, I think we're going to be winning, so that won't be an issue. They're probably still going to be taking unofficial visits to other schools. So just fingers crossed that nothing happens that could derail Lincoln's plan, because we've been killing it with quarterbacks. Obviously, in the last 3 odd year recruiting graduating classes, we've gotten the number 1 quarterback. And then in regards to the kid that's making the announcement, remind me his name. Trayon Webb. The only reason I thought he was going to commit is because it was maybe like 10 or 15 minutes apart. Lincoln threw out his signature eyeballs on Twitter. So I don't know if he's committing. Nothing's been reported, nothing solid. It doesn't really seem like there's too much sense into where he's going or what he's saying tomorrow, but we've definitely got something to look out for, because there was another set of eyeballs out there. So there's a commitment coming soon. We just don't know who it is.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, it's going to be interesting that he says it's supposed to be that Webb. He's supposed to be releasing it at noon. Since he's in Florida, I assume it's going to be Eastern time, so 11 Central time. But as far as our stuff, I think we're done here for this video. We are going to release our regular Thursday podcast as well, where we're going to be covering more of the ChampU BBQ with more of the visits, more of the reviews, and more where kids are kind of sitting, talking a little more about that. And then Friday, we're planning to release another podcast talking more general stuff, more college football, maybe a little leftover nuggets as far as recruiting and things like that. And just kind of wrapping it up on Friday. And then next Monday, we'll release another Who Dat on Jordan Mukes, the defensive back from out of the state of Oklahoma. He's from Choctaw, Oklahoma. So we hope you guys enjoyed the show. A lot of information. We're putting out a few more videos than normal this week just to cover it. And we don't want to make these videos hours a piece. But we really appreciate the support, the subscribing, liking, commenting. We really enjoy interacting with you guys. Definitely go follow us on Twitter. We did just start an Instagram at 2 Plain Sports. Go follow that. We'll be posting more photos from there, keeping in the loop as far as photos go. And but yeah, that's all we've got. Jose, you got any final thoughts? Or are we good to go?
Make sure to tell your friends, because this shit's fun to watch.
Definitely. No, we really appreciate the support. Let's keep it going. We're going to keep putting out great content for you guys, and we appreciate it.
See ya.
Thanks.